and welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in the studios of our flagship stations, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. In addition, today, as always, we're on Birmingham Area Municipal Access and City Cable 15 of Southfield, all three of those channels on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. Also joining us live to tape on Comcast Channel 10 and AT&T Channel 99 is the media network of Waterford and Orion Neighborhood Television, or ONTV. Find us on ONTV in the afternoons at 1 o'clock p.m. And if you're up really late at night for some reason or another and you want to cap off the next day, or begin the next day with the Megacast, you can also join us on Orion Neighborhood Television at 1 o'clock in the morning as well. So 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock in the morning, that's where you'll find us on Orion Neighborhood Television. And you can also check on the media network of Waterford for their regular times as well. Find us on the radio on 88.1 The Biff, as well as here on 89.3 Lakes FM, and online in a number of different places. On our Facebook pages, facebook.com/Civic Center TV 15 and facebook.com/Lakes FM. On our website, civiccentertv.com, just click on our Watch Live link. For those of you on your computer, on the web browser, that will be at the top of our homepage at civiccentertv.com. But if you're viewing us on your cell phone, you can also find it on our website by going to the left margin of the screen. At the top left of the screen, there'll be a few lines that you can click. It'll open a drop-down menu, and on that drop-down menu, the second from the bottom is going to be Watch Live. Click on that, and you'll be able to watch us live on civiccentertv.com. And you can also find us on My Michigan TV. And yeah, today we're actually there. So you can find us live on My Michigan TV. Sometimes we're there. Sometimes they like to throw some surprises at us. Today they decided to be predictable. And so we're with you on My Michigan TV. We're usually there for replays anyway throughout the afternoon with many of our interviews, and sometimes during our live shows we're replaying them too. So My Michigan TV, that is MYMITV.com, or go to our website. The easiest way to get there is to go to civiccentertv.com, click on our Megacast link, and there you'll be able to find links to each and every one of our partnering stations that has us live to tape, and in whatever other capacity they decide to air us each and every day, Monday through Friday, and throughout the weekend for replays as well. civiccentertv.com/Megacast, and you can also find all of our episodes and all of our interviews on demand as well by clicking on our Watch Full Episodes or Watch Full Interviews links. Then over on civiccentertv.com's coronavirus page, just click on coronavirus or type in civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. You can find helpful information, factual information from experts on the front lines of this pandemic at the federal level, from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, at the state level, from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and at the local level, from the Oakland County Health Division. Here you'll be able to find COVID-19 metrics that are released by the state twice a week, three times a week, on Mondays, on Wednesdays, and on Fridays. You can also find more information on COVID-19 vaccines if you have some more questions that you want answered before you consider yourself getting a vaccine or your children getting a vaccine, or you want to find places you can get vaccinated against COVID-19 or get the booster shot or get the Pfizer BioNTech shot as it becomes available very soon for your children. You can go to the Oakland County link at our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. And there you'll be able to navigate by just going down the screen a little bit, clicking on the Vaccine Hub link, and that will take you to OaklandCountyVaccine.com, where you can find more information about getting vaccinated here in our originating location of Oakland County, although we're broadcast all throughout the state, and encourage you to go to your local health department's website to learn more about vaccinations in your local area, both for COVID-19 and for the seasonal flu. Also on CivicCenterTV.com/coronavirus, we have links to many of our local municipalities, so you can see how regular city business, wherever you are living, may be impacted by the ongoing pandemic, whether it be municipal meetings or other city business that is individual to most municipalities. Some have a lot of similarities, but others are doing things differently than some of their neighbors. So if you're from Bloomfield Hills, Birmingham, Pontiac, Auburn Hills, Rochester Hills, Keego Harbor, wherever it might be in Oakland County, there we have links for you. CivicCenterTV.com/coronavirus, where we also scour many of our local publications here in Oakland County and all throughout the state of Michigan each and every day for the top stories affecting Michiganders on the COVID-19 front and beyond. beyond. Today, our top story from the Detroit News, as I mentioned earlier, Michigan is poised to vaccinate kids ages 5 to 11 against COVID-19 as soon as today. Doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for kids 5 to 11 have already arrived in Michigan, and providers are ready to start giving the shots as early as Wednesday. The Federal Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, granted emergency use authorization for the children's vaccine last week Friday, but healthcare providers have been waiting for the sign-off from the Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention before administering the shots. That came Tuesday night when the U.S. health officials with the CDC gave the final sign-off to Pfizer's kid-size COVID-19 shot. Earlier on Tuesday afternoon, a CDC advisory panel voted in favor of giving children in that age group Pfizer's pediatric COVID-19 shots. Governor Gretchen Whitmer's administration pre-ordered about 287,700 doses to be ready for the eventual federal approvals, said Michigan Department of Health and Human Services spokesperson Chelsea Wuth, and she said the doses would arrive on Monday, and they did this week. Quote, "We will be ready on Wednesday to start vaccinating pending approval," Wuth said on Tuesday ahead of the CDC's approval. The MDHHS is excited about potential authorization of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. "We know COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective and the way out of this pandemic," end closed quote. Each dose contains about 1/3 of the amount of the vaccine used for adolescents and adults. According to the FDA, children will need 2 shots in order to be fully vaccinated. The governmental approval was greeted with relief by some parents and trepidation by others. The vaccine was found to be 90.7% effective in clinical trials. About 3,100 children participated in clinical trials that studied the vaccine's safety and efficacy in ages 5 through 11, the FDA reported. No serious side effects had been detected so far in ongoing studies. Governor Whitmer last week ordered the state departments of Health and Human Services and Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, or LARA, to, quote, "take all appropriate action," end close quote, to make the vaccine available to kids as soon as they're eligible to receive it. The children's vaccine will be available at pharmacies, doctors' offices, and local health departments, according to the MDHHS. Now, with over 4,000 providers in the state, there should be no problem finding a vaccine, said Chelsea Wuth. Our initial supply is expected to last through the end of the year, and we'll be able to order more before then from the CDC, end closed quote. On Tuesday, Meijer grocery stores were already scheduling children's vaccinations, and the Oakland County Health Division said it received 14,400 pediatric doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for kids. The county plans to hold its first pediatric COVID vaccination clinics next week, representatives said in a statement. The health division is slated to announce clinic locations and times later on this week. Oakland County has about 98,000 residents ages 5 to 11, according to the release. Quote, "We're excited to have the vaccine available for children. It's a huge step in ending this pandemic and the best way to keep our kids healthy and in school," said Oakland County Health Division Medical Director Dr. Russell Faust, who's also a pediatric ear, nose, and throat surgeon. That full article from the Detroit News on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. And from the Department of Health and Human Services to the Secretary of State's office, from bridgemichigan.com, Michigan is going to be offering non-binary designation for driver's licenses beginning next week. Michigan residents will soon be able to select a gender-neutral designation on their driver's license or state ID card, which will be indicated by the letter X. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson's office will begin offering the non-binary gender designation beginning on November 10th, providing a new option for residents who do not identify on the gender binary as either male or female, according to documents obtained by Bridge, Michigan. Benson confirmed the pending change in a statement saying, quote, "I am proud to support Michiganders across the state who for many years have called on the Department of State to provide a non-binary sex marker on their ID that matches their lived reality." Benson continued saying, "We have been working toward this goal since 2019 when we first removed the barriers for residents to change their sex marker in order to help protect their safety and accurately reflect their identity," end closed quote. 20 other states already allow a gender-neutral sex designation without requiring documentation from a medical provider, according to an SOS memo to law enforcement groups. The U.S. Department of State issued its first non-binary gender passport last week. LGBTQ advocates had urged Benson to offer a non-binary option for driver's licenses, which currently allow only male or female designations. They celebrated the pending change when contacted by Bridge, Michigan on Tuesday afternoon. Quote, there are individuals who do not necessarily identify with part of the gender binary, and those who are gender non-binary should have the opportunity to have documents that accurately reflect who they are, said Jay Kaplan, staff attorney for the ACLU of Michigan's LGBT project. He continued, Kaplan continued, quote, I think this is a terrific thing, end closed quote. But law enforcement groups fear their software may not be ready for the new ID designation, and while they had earlier discussions with Benson's office, her Monday letter caught many off guard, said Bob Stevenson, executive director of the Michigan Association of Chiefs of Police. Stevenson said, quote, we've expressed our concerns repeatedly to the Secretary of State's office on issues we'd like to address and resolve, but in spite of that, the policy is going to change, he told Bridge, Michigan. He continued, we'll just have to do the best that we can, end closed quote. Yeah, changes happen. You usually have to just roll with them. It happens in police departments too, so I don't see where that complaint really becomes all too valid when you had some forewarning. Maybe it came a little bit quicker, but you got to roll with those changes. It will all adjust itself. You have their records regardless. I don't really understand. I'm not an expert on this, but I really don't understand how a change in the sex marker on somebody's ID or on their driver's license would really cause that big of a problem when they still are the same person. Continuing on in the article, the records management systems police use to log crime reports and other data have traditionally been set up with either fields for male or female individuals, and warrant entries also include specific sex designations, said Stevenson. Still, police hope they can update systems to coordinate with new IDs, but doing so will cost money, he told Bridge, Michigan. Quote, it'll take a while before the X licenses get into distributions, and I wouldn't imagine there will be hundreds of thousands of them immediately, so I think we'll have time to work through this, so that's good news. Benson, in her Monday letter, wrote that she told law enforcement leaders about the possible ID change 2 years ago and expects, quote-unquote, many have already updated their systems or connected with agencies in other states that have done so. The change has been a long time coming. In early 2020, Benson confirmed that she was contemplating a non-binary designation for driver's licenses and state ID cards. Earlier attempts had been complicated by state database software that could not really accommodate the change. Benson spokesperson Jake Rallo said on Tuesday that the department overhauled, quote, the core technology behind its driver's license and ID systems, and closed quote. The work completed in March of 2021 expanded online transaction options and made the non-binary gender designation option, quote unquote, feasible with additional programming. The change is important for non-binary, intersex, or gender non-conforming residents who have been traditionally confronted with limited options from government, said Aaron Knott, executive director of Equality Michigan. Knott was also quoted saying, this hopefully will mitigate harassment and discrimination and make people that choose to use the X, if you will, to feel as though they are being treated fairly and with respect. That full article from Bridge, Michigan on our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. In addition to our final article today from the Detroit Free Press, there is a snowplow, salt truck driver shortage in Michigan, and then what this might mean for our roads as we approach the winter season, and some places in the Great Lakes state already getting snowfall yesterday. As Michigan residents begin to dust off their heavy coats and prepare for the bone-chilling and especially wet winter, officials say a shortage of snowplow drivers and salt truck drivers is already brewing. While perhaps taken for granted, having plowed roads is incredibly important for the economy, for emergency services, and for day-to-day life. Quote, and so it's a little more critical to get on top of it in a very busy urban area like Detroit or Grand Rapids, said Mark Geib, administrator of the Transportation Systems Management Operations Division at the Michigan Department of Transportation. Geib continued on by saying it's not just for the traveling public, but also for emergency services, the ambulances, the police and fire, and all of that. So We need to keep the roads clear so people can get around, especially in emergency situations, and closed quote. Michigan is expected to get more precipitation than a quote-unquote wetter than average winter, meaning more snowfall, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. Geib said that he hasn't seen a snowplow driver shortage anything like this during his 30 years at MDOT. MDOT contracts out the responsibility for about 75% of the roads to counties and manages the other 25% itself, according to Geib. Individual counties like Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb are also struggling to find rosters. Leo Chavada of Macomb County Maintenance Superintendent, the Macomb County Maintenance Superintendent, said they're missing about 30% of what they need. In Wayne County, it's looking to fill about 50 spots, and Oakland County is looking to fill about 30, according to WWJ 950 AM. Despite the shortage, Geib said there's no need to take your shovel to Interstate 75 just yet. Yeah, it sounds like a bad idea. The roads will be plowed one way or another. If enough drivers aren't hired and a snowstorm hits, Geib said people from adjacent garages and regions will help out where the storm hit hardest. Sometimes employees capable of driving snowplows will be pulled from other divisions in order to help out. In Macomb County, contractors are on standby as reinforcements if there is a large snowstorm. Quote, safety is our number one priority, said Chavada. Geib said the shortage is likely due to a competitive job market and the private sector offering bonuses and higher wages, and it can be hard for MDOT to compete because it has preset salaries. He said that he hopes that once contractors that operate machines during the summer start to wind down those jobs, they'll be able to work temporarily during the winter. Quote, we do offer good benefits and lead time, Geib said, but of course, the people we hire to do snow plowing, it's more difficult for them to take lead time because, in the winter, we need them, closed quote. MDOT snowplow wages range from $20 to $26 an hour for 8-hour shifts and up to 4 hours of overtime. In Macomb County, wages begin at $17.59 and reach about $22 per hour. Quote, wages will probably go up over time, especially if this shortage continues, said Geib. Geib continued, because, in the end, we have to have people to do this because winter maintenance is one of the most important things that we do to keep the roads safe, keeping them clear so the economy can keep going, and close quote. Driving a snowplow requires a commercial driver's license and typically some experience in truck driving or operating machinery. You can apply for these jobs in Metro Detroit and across the state at many different locations online. We have provided links via this article to MDOT, Oakland County, Wayne County, and Macomb County's road operations team, so that if you are looking for some of these jobs, you can find those jobs. They're all listed in this article from the Detroit Free Press, and that is on our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Coming up next, we got a great show ahead of you today. Next up, we'll have the Career and Education Coordinator at Grace Centers of Hope in Pontiac, Christine Johnson, on with us. Then at 10:40 at the bottom of the hour, U.S. Representative Brenda Lawrence from Michigan's 14th Congressional District will join us to talk about a number of issues affecting us here in the state of Michigan and on the national level and the federal level, including the Build Back Better agenda and the status of where that is at in Congress. At 11 o'clock, Nori Klar, the co-owner of Toyology Toys, located in West Bloomfield Hills, and Royal Oak, will join us as we approach the holiday season and people begin shopping for their families for the holidays. And then at 11:20, Dewey Steffen, the CEO and Chief Investment Officer at Great Lakes Wealth, a financial planning company, will join us on the show. And then we'll finish off the show at 11:40 with Mindy Eisenberg. She is the founder of Yoga Moves MS, which is located in Franklin. That is all coming up next. You are watching and listening to the Megacast.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanted to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you didn't. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Joined by Christine Johnson, the Career and Education Coordinator at Grace Centers of Hope in Pontiac. Christine is their new Education and Career Coordinator, and thanks for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about the Career and Education program that's over there at Grace Centers of Hope and how it helps the people that are utilizing the services of this organization.
Yeah, so the Career and Education Center helps our clients at Grace Centers of Hope prepare for success. So everything we do is designed to help our clients for their success in the future. So what we offer here is we have a transition class program in the building that we provide for the residents once they've completed the 1-year life skills program. That includes classes on time management, codependency, work readiness, some personality profile classes, and all of these things are to help prepare them to get back into the workforce. And so then after those transition classes, they're able to move into our computer lab and spend time job searching. So I help them with their resumes, resume building, explaining lapses of time on their resume, using job boards, doing mock interviews with them. So that's part of what we do at the Career and Education Center. The other part is we offer GED prep courses, and we are a certified GED testing facility. So that's a service that we offer to the public so that we can kind of give back to Pontiac. So if there are residents in the 1-year programs that have not obtained their GED, they're sent over here to work on obtaining their GED. So that's part of what we do here.
We're joined by Christine Johnson. She's the new Career and Education Coordinator at Grace Centers of Hope in Pontiac. And Christine, you have a really interesting story of how you ended up at Grace Centers of Hope in this role. Tell us that story and how you were ultimately led into this job, helping people in a way that you previously were helped as well.
Yeah. So actually, for 13 years of my life, I was addicted to heroin and meth. So I spent the vast majority of my adulthood really on a pretty severe downward spiral. I ended up in jail multiple times, went to 13, 15 rehabs, did tons of outpatient counseling, therapy, programs, everything you can imagine. I did it. And so I found myself in jail looking at prison time for a felony manufacturing of meth charge. And I really was just at the bottom of myself. And I had heard about Grace Centers of Hope through my aunt who worked with them. And so I applied and I was able to get in and I did the 1-year life skills program. I ended up working at Grace. I was an RA to begin with. I eventually made my way up to, I was the intake coordinator for the women's program. So I was actually helping other women get into the women's program, the women's 1-year life skills program. And then I was offered the position here at the Career and Education Center, where I now help those who have completed the 1-year program. So it's really a great full circle thing for me.
So having been through the program, having seen how it helped you and experienced it yourself, how does that help to inform the services that you're providing in your work with Grace Centers of Hope for other women who have been through similar situations to yours and men and other people as well that are coming in through the system?
Absolutely. So I think that what it does for me is I have a very good understanding of the fears that face a lot of these clients. They are worried, just like I was, that they will not be able to be successful and pick up these pieces of their life due to legal issues, financially, a lack of education. All of these things I'm very intimately aware with because I suffered from them myself. I think the great thing about the way that Grace is structured is it's very long-term, very all-encompassing. So there are a lot of resources here to help you every step of the way. My step is like the last step. My program kind of comes in at the end of the 1-year program. There's a subsequent 2-year program after the 1 year called the aftercare program, where we own over 50 houses in the surrounding area. And if you choose, you are able to rent a room in one of those homes and continue to stay and live and be a part of the community and take part in all of the services that we offer here. So I actually still live in one of the homes with my husband. So it's a really all-encompassing program, and it's very helpful in my job, knowing those fears and those anxieties so that I can address them. And the clients know that I know. They know that I know, and I'm addressing things that maybe they haven't even spoken about. But I know that they're worried because I worried about it too. So.
We're joined by Christine Johnson. She's the Career and Education Coordinator at Grace Centers of Hope, joining us on the Megacast. And Christine, for you, having been through the program and been through the 1-year program and now helping other people through this, what do you take from it? What kind of feelings does that bring to you, and how does that aid in your recovery? Because recovery is constant, and for some, seeing other people going through similar situations could be triggering. How does that help in your recovery to be able to also help other people along to get to the point that you're at?
Sure. So it helps me knowing that I'm helping others in the way that I was helped. So that in itself is a gift of service that I'm able to provide, and it gets me out of my own anxiety or my own fears. Because I'm helping someone else. You tend to think about yourself less when you're helping someone. So that has been a really big component of it. I think the other thing that has been really helpful is I really was brought to such a strong foundation here at Grace. The community and the faith was so strong and was able to instill a really solid foundation for me. So when I encounter those clients that are really struggling, I am very secure in my own recovery, to know that I can see someone else going through something I had been through that might be really like triggering or upsetting, and know that I don't have to go there anymore, that's not me. And while I'll never become complacent, I do know that I have really been blessed. And that my job here is to help others achieve the same like spirit, the same level that I'm at, because it's possible. I mean, I was really, I was beyond any help, and I had tried all help. So I know that if I'm here, they can be here too. So.
We're joined by Christine Johnson. She is the Career and Education Coordinator at Grace Centers of Hope, joining us on the Megacast. And so you mentioned that you're at the end of the process, or near the end of the process, at the tail end of the 1-year program. And one of the things that is offered through Grace Centers of Hope are transition classes to help these men and these women that have gone through their programs acclimate back into the world with education opportunities, with job opportunities, with training? What are some of those transition services, and what kind of results do those ultimately give for a lot of these people that are going back into what I would imagine to be a great unknown after they go through this whole process?
Yeah, absolutely. So the classes that we offer in transition, so there is an entire class dedicated to work readiness. So that involves how to build a resume, how to explain gaps in your resume, how to go on interviews, what to do in an interview, what not to do in an interview, how to explain if you've been fired, how to explain if you quit. So there's the work readiness courses. There's also a lot of courses on practical things, home economics, time management. We do a personality profile class that helps our clients understand who they are and how they interact with other people in the workplace and also where they live. So in the community. And then there's classes on codependency, which they've been learning about in the 1 year. But by the end of the 1 year, they're starting to think about relationships. And so we like to touch on that topic again. And so these 4 weeks are really about kind of capping off the year that they've spent in the men's and women's programs, and bringing up a few things that they haven't learned necessarily. So there's financial planning classes that talk to them about how to make a budget, maybe how to fill out W-2 forms, how to do your taxes, things that some of us, well, I don't know if any of us learned in school. I don't remember learning that in school. So they're really practical classes, and they kind of cap off that year. So they've been extremely successful. We have a 100% job placement rate. And since 2016, we've helped 244 residents obtain full-time employment.
We're joined by Christine Johnson. She is the Career and Education Coordinator at Grace Centers of Hope, joining us on the Megacast. Christine, just another couple minutes with us before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that would be important for our audience to know about the Career and Education Program at Grace Centers of Hope, about that 1-year program, or how people can obtain these services?
Yeah, so Grace Centers of Hope, like I said, is a very all-encompassing program. So they're in it for the long haul with you. So if people are interested in what this program has to offer, either as a client or as a volunteer, so we run a lot on donations and volunteers, which has been a blessing because we are a nonprofit. So that's something that we always are really grateful for. So if people are interested in becoming a volunteer, they can always contact us and find out ways. We use a lot of volunteers here at the Career and Ed Department. We have tutors that help our students. We have people that come and help with mock interviews with the clients, and in the various other departments in the kitchens at both of the programs. So we always have available opportunities for volunteers. And again, we are so blessed that we do. And also, if there's people out there who are struggling with anything, it doesn't just have to be addiction. It can be a chronic homelessness. It can be mental health. It can be a lot of things, domestic violence, anything that has really got you to a place in your life where you're struggling. Absolutely calling Grace Centers of Hope was the best decision I've ever made. And I know for my time in the women's department, the helping of so many women to get into the program, I know it was the best decision that they had ever made as well. So it's absolutely a great resource. It's totally free of charge. Everything here is free to the clients. All of the services that we offer, the GED program, the transition classes, the entire 1-year program, it is entirely free to our clients. So I would encourage anyone that's struggling to reach out, because this is a really, really, really great resource and a wonderful place that has changed my life so much.
Well, Christine, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is the source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line, for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe alongside Calvin Brown, our studio producer and board operator in our studios in West Bloomfield Township. Although we're broadcasting all throughout the state of Michigan, you can find all of the different channels that we are broadcasting live and live to tape throughout the afternoons on our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast. There you will also find all of our full episodes and each and every individual interview on demand, so you can watch on your own time as well if you're not able to join us for our live shows Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. Joining us now is U.S. Representative Brenda Lawrence. She represents Michigan's 14th Congressional District in Washington, D.C., and she's with us now to talk about a number of issues affecting the state of Michigan and all of us at the federal level as well. Representative, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Yeah, good to have you with us. So the big topic of conversation at the national level right now out of Congress is the Build Back Better agenda. It seems like that deal is getting closer by the day. Those compromises continue to be made. Where is that deal at right now, and what are some of those final holdups that are in place before this deal can potentially be passed and then eventually get to the president's desk?
It is really close. We have been negotiating, and some people are saying that the Democratic Party can't get their act together. One of the things we pride ourselves on is being the party of the big tent. That means that we have multiple voices at the table on so many different levels. And the thing that we're showing, whether you like it or not, is democracy. And that means pulling people together, listening to them, including their concerns and debating on the value of it. We are very close. I'm excited about the Build Back Better because I am the chair of the Women's Caucus and also second vice chair of the Black Caucus. And so many things in this bill address the quality of life for women, and it lifts people out of poverty. And so I am very, very excited about it.
Yeah, some people have raised some concerns about parts and elements of the Build Back Better agenda that have been that are allegedly cut or are likely to not make that final cut before the bill may or may not be passed very soon, including paid family leave and free community college and some other elements as well. Are those being discussed in separate agendas, and what ultimately led to some of those elements that have been cut so far being removed from this from the Build Back Better plan as it stands at this moment in time?
You know, I tell you, we're making sausage, and in the sausage process, some things fall off the table, but I'm so excited about what is still in this package. Universal child care. I know that addressing the environment, prescription drugs, elder care, and child care has been just one of those financial burdens on society today. And so those are things that we're going to move forward. And let's not forget the bipartisan infrastructure plan, the BIF, that we're voting on as well, which would transform our investment, be transformational, because we haven't done an investment in our infrastructure since the New Deal. And one of the things that I want to highlight, and it's lead in the pipes and lead poisoning through our water is being addressed in this bill. So we've seen, you know, I have Hamtramck, I have Detroit, where we've seen poisoning, lead poisoning in our water, and we have Flint, that we all know the catastrophe of that. So this is such a good bill. And that's what I want everyone to focus in, is what is left in this bill. Prescription drugs, I mean, all these things that we know will be transformational, not only for today, but for generations to come.
And there are a lot of these key elements. Universal pre-K for, which would be mean free preschool for more than 6 million children. Part of this bill, college Pell Grants, increased child care funding, housing. There will be about $150 billion for affordable housing. This agenda addresses a number of different issues that are affecting Americans across the board, and so that makes this a really exciting bill that could be potentially on the president's desk very soon. In terms of negotiations, both within the Democratic Party, you mentioned some people making comments that the Democratic Party can't get itself together with its current majorities being what they are, but this has to be something that's negotiated across the board as well, because it is going to need support from across the country. How much did the negotiations with your counterparts across the aisle play into the modification of this bill, and ultimately still including so many of these elements that are going to be critical for the future of so many in our country?
So I want you to know, and I want everyone listening to know, that every step of this way has been bipartisan. And we know that the BIF, the bipartisan infrastructure plan, was negotiated across the aisle. There are times when we'll hear our Republican colleagues say that it's an absolute no, we're not even going to negotiate. So just count on our no vote. And unfortunately, there's times when that will happen. But we're very excited, because when you start talking about child care, prescription drugs, elder care, child care, that has nothing to do with your political party. It's about taking care of America and about laying the framework that is the vision of President Biden to take care of America. And this is why it is, to me, a bipartisan issue, and that we should have everyone voting on this, because whether you're an active parent or a grandparent, you know the challenges of raising children in childcare. Those of us in that middle position where there's children and there's also your elders that you're caring for, and we need to do that. And pre-K, universal pre-K in education of our children will be transformational. And I'm so excited about this moving forward.
We're joined by U.S. Representative Brenda Lawrence, representing Michigan's 14th Congressional District. She joins us on the Megacast. You'll be able to find this full interview later on today on our website at civiccentertv.com by clicking on our Megacast link if you're just tuning in. And Representative Lawrence, Build Back Better agenda is about evening the playing field and alleviating some of those stresses that are affecting so many Americans as a result of the pandemic and as a result of years of the status quo prior to the pandemic, decades of the status quo prior to the pandemic that have led us to this point. But another stressor that is along those kinds of lines is representation in government. We had a really tough go of it last year in 2020, getting accurate U.S. Census data. It was extended multiple times. And then we have census analysis that's showing that Black Americans may have been significantly undercounted. We already know that that's playing a role in U.S. Census data's impact on the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission and some of those proposed maps. The representation has, in some of their current proposed maps has been under a lot of fire for very valid reasons. How concerning is it to have this U.S. Census data and this analysis showing that a significant population in our country may have been undercounted, and what can be done at the federal level to try to adjust that so that people are being represented properly in their states, especially when we're in a year, in Michigan in particular, where we are redrawing our districts for the next 10 years ahead?
So understand why the census count is so important. It is the formula that we use, population. I sit on appropriations, and it's the formula that is used to appropriate your tax dollars back into your community. If there's an undercount, you will not get the resources you need. We will not know how many children are in the districts. We will not know how we need to build our infrastructure of education. If we don't know the ages of our seniors and where they're located so that we can build in the services, wraparound services is gonna be needed. Not to mention Head Start, special ed grants, highway planning, small business. So we know, and what I'm asking for is a hearing on government oversight, which is where I sit also on that committee, that we can talk about this and how do we address neighborhoods that we know there was an undercount. As insult to injury, the census count was canceled early by the previous administration. So we weren't even given that extra time that is built into the law to count those who were missed the first time. So we have a lot of work to do, and I know that it's very, very important that we count those who need it the most.
Yeah, about anywhere from 3 to 7% of Black Americans appear to have not been counted in the city of Detroit, according to this U.S. Census analysis. That comes out to about 17,000 to 38,000 residents. And so at this point in time, you mentioned some of the discussions already in Washington, D.C. about fixing some of these issues with the census in 2020 that were clear because of the pandemic, some not because of the pandemic, but we're connected to these issues and we're under a greater microscope because of the pandemic-related issues with the census. What is being discussed as potential changes or potential reevaluations that need to be made for the census process so that next time we get this data coming around in 2030, we are able to make those necessary changes and make those adjustments during that process and not end up with the same situation now, because the situation is what it is. There's not really much that can be done to change the results of the census, to adjust those results and therefore adjust the way that our districts are designed and aligned here in the state of Michigan, but the future can still be mitigated.
So obviously we were counting people during a pandemic, which created a whole level of barriers, and add to that we shortened the period of time and we moved to a totally electronic system that we introduced instead of knocking on doors. And thank goodness we did have a different way to count because of the pandemic. we are going to have to ensure that, some people were told, go to your phone, you'll get a text. That didn't work for everyone, or go online, and that didn't work for everyone. So we are going to have to look at our overall data gathering processes, and we're going to have to look at how do we ensure that those we know that weren't counted, that we have a process in place that we can go back and address them. What I want is a formula right now to address the undercount, and that we can use in appropriations to make up for the undercount. So there would be a part of the formula would be the actual count, the reported undercount that will bring the numbers to a more realistic formula to allocate our funds.
And that reported undercount, according to some new studies, particularly for Black Americans undercounted potentially in the 2020 census nationally, is about 2 million, a significant number of people. And that is just in one demographic. That doesn't include many other demographics across the United States that may have been affected by these potential undercounts and these definite undercounts that happened. We are joined by U.S. Representative Brenda Lawrence, representing Michigan's 14th Congressional District. And Representative Lawrence, you spent 30 years working for the United States Postal Service. Their Postmaster General, Louis DeJoy, recently enacting some new protocols for the United States Postal Service. We've talked about a number of those issues already and how they're affecting us here in state right now and right away with Attorney General Dana Nessel. What are your thoughts on some of those changes? Because they're significant and they are affecting a number of different people across the United States in many different ways beyond just, of course, the delivery of packages and other parcels during this holiday season.
Well, taking my 30 years experience, this vision of the Postmaster General DeJoy is a race to the bottom. He took over the Postal Service during a pandemic. And so during this pandemic, we had all kinds of challenges, workforce challenges, which equated to mail not being delivered. And so what did he do? He said, okay, let's lower the standards. Well, come on. People depend on the Postal Service for medication, for their checks from different levels, and also just the overall commerce, small businesses. I was a letter carrier, and I had a section of small businesses that were my delivery responsibility, and they daily received parcels and boxes that were essential to their inventory. So when we talk about having a letter that is mailed within the state of Michigan, instead of it being overnight as it should, say it'll be 3 to 5 days, where does that improve the quality? Where does that enhance the ability of the people of the United States to trust a postal service? And understand, some people go, just privatize it. Guess what? A postal service is part of our Constitution. It is not something you can just get rid of. And so that's why I'm so passionate about ensuring that we get this right and that we deliver to the American people what they deserve.
We're joined by U.S. Representative Brenda Lawrence of Michigan's 14th Congressional District. Of course, as we mentioned just moments ago, Representative Lawrence did spend 30 years working for the USPS. And so on this issue, Postmaster General DeJoy, his arguments in favor of these changes are more along the lines of trying to run the USPS, which often works at a loss, running it more like a business. But on the other side, the arguments against these changes are because, like you said, this is a service. This is something that is expected, that is not privatized, and has those number of issues that you talked about with privatizing these services. So you're having a debate there from the Postmaster General about running this like a business versus like a service, and ultimately this is a service that affects people's lives in so many different ways, whether it be from getting their bills paid or and keeping their lights on, receiving their medications, and more, and especially for those Americans with the technology gap that we still have and we're still needing to address in our country. The U.S. Postal Service and getting people's mail in a timely manner is critical for so many Americans.
And add to that, I sit on government oversight, which has direct responsibility of overseeing how the Postal Service operate. I have yet to receive any documents that lowering the standards of delivery will have an impact on the bottom line. Yes, we must move our Postal Service forward to make sure that we're cost effective, but tell me something that's going to move the bottom line, and lowering standards of delivery does not do that.
We're joined by Representative Brenda Lawrence. She is our U.S. representative for Michigan's 14th Congressional District with us on the Megacast. Representative Lawrence, just another couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that that's interesting or important on the docket in Washington, D.C. that would be affecting the people of the state of Michigan that we should be keeping an eye out for, or any other exciting announcements or important announcements from your office at this time?
The infrastructure bill, I want people in Michigan to really understand the impact of the infrastructure bill. We know that Governor Whitmer was elected based on her commitment to fix the roads in Michigan. So in the infrastructure bill, it's bridges, it's roads, it's our water infrastructure that we know that we must invest in. It is also about our ports. It's about climate. So how do we invest in Michigan in a climate resilient infrastructure? And let me talk to you about the flooding that's happening. So we know that our pipe and water infrastructure is not sustainable. These 1,000-year rains in Michigan, in 3 weeks, we had 3 1,000-year rains where the pipes and the infrastructure were not able to contain the water, and it backed up in basements. So understand, when we talk about this infrastructure bill, it's about climate resilient. So that means all the changes that we're seeing in our environment, we're gonna build an infrastructure that can contain it, that will keep us safe, that will also prevent all the destruction that we see from weather and natural occurrences.
Well, Representative Lawrence, we appreciate you joining us today to talk about updates on the Build Back Better agenda, issues with the U.S. Postal Service, and of course the infrastructure bill as well. All things very important to the people in the state of Michigan as we continue through this pandemic and into the future and try to build a better America as well. Representative, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me, and to everyone, please know we're working here. It's not pretty, but we're doing the work.
Yeah, it often never is, but that's part of the job, and you work around that. So we appreciate it, and thank you very much, Representative.
Thank you. Be blessed. Have a great day.
You as well. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we'll continue on your radio homes for the Megacast, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. We talked about some of the issues with the U.S. Postal Service. Well, one local business is working to navigate around that to make sure that when you gift toys to people in your family for these holidays coming up, you get them in a timely manner and you get some really cool stuff as well. Nori Klar from Toyology Toys in West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, and Royal Oak will join me next to kick off the second hour of today's edition of the Megacast. We'll return after this.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
To Sophia and Gabriel, even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water, and so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and then they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes. They stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe alongside Calvin Brown, our studio producer and board operator, joining us today in our studios here in West Bloomfield Township, where we broadcast live from 10 a.m. until 12 noon, Monday through Friday. Find more information, including all the places that we broadcast live and live to tape, and find all of our shows and interviews on demand on our website at civiccentertv.com by clicking on our Megacast link. For those of you on a computer, that'll be at the top of the homepage. For those of you on your mobile phone on our website, that'll be on the left side of the screen in our drop-down menu. Joining us also from in West Bloomfield with a business that's in West Bloomfield, as well as Bloomfield Hills and Royal Oak, is Nori Klar. She is the co-owner of Toyology Toys, with us on the Megacast. Nori, thanks for being with us again. Good to have you on. So we are approaching the holiday season, and with that going on, with the supply chain issues, a lot of toy companies and other retailers are really racing against the clock to get that product into their businesses in time for the busy holiday season. How are things coming along for you as we're entering that time of the year where parents, where families, where individuals are shopping for those in their lives for the upcoming holidays?
People are shopping already for the holidays. We've been stacked and ready. We knew this was coming, so I stocked our store much earlier than I would in previous years. And people are out there shopping for the holidays.
So what had to be done on your part there? Just give some insight into stocking up early, because we've had those known supply chain issues. What are some of the ways that you have navigated around that to be able to have the supply that you've needed for now and for going forward in the next several weeks as people begin and continue their holiday shopping?
Well, I actually started in June. So I'm part of a big group of independent toy stores through the United States, and we produce a catalog together. Ours just went out in the mail. It looks like this. And so we got the items. They were picking them early this year, and starting June, we placed all our orders. and had them come in early, whereas previous years we wouldn't have the orders coming in till September 1st, then November, October, and November along the way. We got everything shipped as ready so that we would be stacked and ready for this holiday season.
We're joined by Nori Klar. She's the co-owner of Toyology Toys with locations in West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, and Royal Oak. And so, Nori, you prepared early for this busy holiday season. The supply chain issues obviously very well known to business owners, especially in retail businesses, but it's also very well known to our customer bases as well, to consumers. And so are you noticing, with that being the case and people knowing that these supplies, when they come in, are going to be in full stock but could go out quickly, and then restocking could be difficult for a lot of businesses, are you finding, as an owner of a toy store, that people are doing their holiday shopping earlier and have already begun? Here we are in the first few days of November.
Yes, October, they were shopping for the holidays. We gift wrapped. We were wrapping for gifts for the holidays, Hanukkah and Christmas wrap. Again, yes, I'm afraid that the items that sell out, I will not get back in. I tried to prepare and ordered a lot more than I normally would that early in the year. And we'll just cross our fingers, but we have toys. We may run out of something, but we've got a lot of toys.
We're joined by Nori Klar. She is the co-owner of Toyology Toys in West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, and Royal Oak. And as you're stocked up on things and on supplies for this holiday shopping season, and as customers are coming in, what are some of those trends that we're seeing on the toy front for this holiday season? What are some of the hottest going items right now that parents that are looking to get some toys for their kids or for other kids in their families for the holidays may be wanting to look at for this season?
Trends in a toy store, it's hard to say. A lot of times the kids think the trends are what's on TV. As an independent toy store and an educational toy store, our trends are, right now, multi-generational play, like young kids and grandparents, everyone could play together. That's very big this year. The poppers are all big this year. Everybody wants poppers. We've got huge poppers, baby poppers. Poppers are everywhere, so that's a very big trend. And just science is very big over the holidays. People love science projects. We have a lot of science, arts and crafts. So as far as trends, it's really, I can't say like there's a license that's going to be hot. There's always Harry Potter and those type of things, but the trend is quality toys with longevity.
We're joined by Nori Klar. She's the co-owner of Toyology Toys out of West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, and Royal Oak, joining us on the Megacast today. And so, Nori, you and your team over at Toyology Toys, you do a great job of keeping up with new and interesting toys that are coming down the line that might be of great interest to people or become trendy in the near future. Right now, what are some really interesting toys that you have brought in to your stock that might be capturing the eye of parents or of kids in the near future?
And adults. So one line here that's very new is called U-Gears. It's a wood line. They would come in a box like this, and you build something cool like this, and some of them even have motion, and if you plug them in, they'll go. I'm not near a plug, so I can't really show you how that works. One of our top games this year, people love this game. It was a really good seller last year, called Clask. It's a beautiful wood battle game. Again, for kids and adults to play equally against each other. I love an air fort. This has been a really popular item. It actually connects to a box fan, so it doesn't always blow up in your house. As soon as you turn the fan off, the tent goes away. But when you go inside, this one's a starry night, so it actually has glow-in-the-dark stars. When you're inside it, the blowing of the fan and the parachute material is very soothing, so it's a nice place for kids to calm down, to read, relax, just play with their stuffed animals. My manager and I climbed in it at Toy Fair a few years ago, and Toy Fair is exhausting. We stayed in there for quite a little while just to relax. It's very soothing. So these have been great. Again, for the whole family.
We're joined by Nori Klar. She is the co-owner of Toyology Toys with locations in West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, and Royal Oak. Learn more information on Toyology Toys toyologytoys.com, and you can find also all their locations, including those in West Bloomfield at the Orchard Mall, in Bloomfield Hills, and in Royal Oak as well. And so, Nori, as people are going out for their holiday shopping, sometimes of the year are really busy for holiday shopping, when would you suggest would be the best time to get out there for parents and for others that are looking to buy some toys for families or for their kids for this upcoming holiday season? When would you suggest they get out to the stores, especially knowing that we have the supply chain issues that we have, and while you're stocked up, things can go pretty quickly?
They should start now. Everyone should start now and try shopping at odd times of the day when it's not really busy and you can get more personal service. Our stores are very well known for our customer service. Our employees are all really well trained and can help you find those perfect gifts. But by starting now, you'll take the stress off and get the toys you really want. There's going to be toys. It's just if there's certain things you really want and you see it, you should get it right now.
And so, Nori, on the COVID-19 front, some people may not be comfortable still going back into a store environment, especially during the holiday shopping season where they expect more people to come in. All the more reason why you encourage them going at odd times where there may be less people there. But regardless, if they're not comfortable, are there still options at Toyology Toys at all three of your locations to pick up these items in alternative forms, whether it be curbside or delivery, whatever the case may be?
We have lots of options. So as far as shopping, if you don't feel comfortable coming into a store, we also have our online store. So you can always still shop local, but yet online. We have FaceTime shopping with people. We do phone shopping with people. And for people who would really like to come in the store, but maybe compromised or uncomfortable around people, we even make private shopping times before our store hours. We still have curbside pickup. I know in your last hour you were talking about the mailing issue. We do ship everywhere, but we have a service that's a delivery service in Michigan. So anywhere in Michigan, you will get your gifts within a day or two. We have that service as well. So we are here for you, whatever you need.
We're joined by Nori Klar, co-owner of Toyology Toys. You can find them in multiple locations here in the Oakland County area, on Telegraph Road in Bloomfield Hills, on Main Street in Royal Oak, and at their location in West Bloomfield at the Orchard Mall on Orchard Lake Road. Nori, just a few more minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that would be important for our audience to know right now about the upcoming holiday shopping season for toys, or anything interesting about Toyology Toys and your stock for this upcoming season that people should know as they prepare for their holiday shopping?
Well, I think if you shop at Toyology Toys, you'll see we have many different items you don't see at all the big box stores. I pick every item myself by quality, by educational value, and longevity. As I said, we have our holiday catalog out. If you didn't get one in the mail, you can pick one up at the store, or you can go to our website and click on our holiday catalog and check out all the really new items. And just shop local this holiday, help out the community that's helping everybody. We do a whole kickback program for all the local schools where if a family shops with us, they tell us their school, and money or items will go back to that school. Every 6 months, we tally, all the sales and give them a percentage back. So we're here for our community, and we hope that the community shops local for all of our friends in the local businesses. And the other thing is that when you're out shopping this year, our employees are working really, really hard. We don't have enough employees. Please be patient, kind, and considerate, because they're doing the best they can, and we want everyone to have a great shopping experience.
And so on that front, before I let you go, I do want to add to that. You mentioned that employees are working extra hard this season. There are still staffing issues going on. Are there jobs that are still available at all three of your locations in case people want to either look for some new full-time work or part-time work, pick up some extra shifts during the holiday season? Are those available at Toyology Toys?
Yes, they are. And you can just email either Tracy at Toyology Toys or give us a call at the West Bloomfield store and fill out an application. We're looking for more employees, and who wouldn't want to work in a toy store?
Absolutely. And that West Bloomfield location, of course, it's located on Orchard Lake Road in West Bloomfield at the Orchard Mall, and you can give them a call by finding more information on their contact information at their website, toyologytoys.com. Nori, thank you for joining us today and previewing the holiday shopping season at one of our locally owned businesses here in Metro Detroit.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Nori Klar, co-owner of Toyology Toys, with locations on Main Street and Royal Oak, Telegraph Road in Bloomfield Hills, and on Orchard Lake Road in the Orchard Mall in West Bloomfield. Find more information on their website at toyologytoys.com. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we'll shift from holiday shopping to investing. We'll be joined by Dewey Steffen, the CEO and the Chief Investment Officer at Great Lakes Wealth, a financial planning company. That is coming up next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood,
physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different. One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games? Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate. So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Whatever gets you talking.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe alongside Calvin Brown in our studios here in West Bloomfield, where we broadcast live from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Friday. We're also replaying throughout the day on a number of different television stations here in Oakland County and throughout the state of Michigan. And you can find us online on civiccentertv.com/Megacast on demand anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Joining us now is the CEO and the Chief Investment Officer of Great Lakes Wealth, a financial planning company. Dewey Steffen joins us once again on the Megacast. Dewey, thanks for being with us.
Hey, Tyler, great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. So you are a financial planner. You run a financial planning company. Just tell us a little bit for specifics, because people have a general idea of what a financial planner does, but what is a financial planner?
Yeah, sure. Well, first I'll start talking about ourselves. And so Great Lakes Wealth is a financial services firm. And in this industry, a fancy term for financial planning is wealth management, right? So wealth management is a synonym for financial planning, which means understanding all that goes into one's financial matters. The other terminology would be asset management, or just the investment side. So investment management or asset management just deals with the investments, whether that's stocks, cash, the investments. You add in liabilities, the wanting of a date to retire, the goals, the wishes. That's where you go into planning, take your assets, plus all that other stuff. That's financial planning.
And so, Dewey, when should people be seeking the help of a financial planner? When is the right time to start that process?
The right time is now. We actually say that here at our firm all the time. It's never too late to begin. And so whether you're 16, 18, 21, the sooner the better. The longer that you have to have your goals working towards your achievement of them, the better off you'll be.
We're joined by Dewey Steffen. He's the CEO and the Chief Investment Officer at Great Lakes Wealth, a financial planning company. Learn more information at greatlakeswealth.us. That is their website where you can find more information. So lately, it seems like the markets are having some stronger days. They're having stronger periods where it's looking really bright and the future is looking like it's going to have a huge boom, and other days where it's dipping back and it looks like, okay, the pandemic's about to put us back in another big dip in the market. What is the best advice from your side of things as an expert in this field on following those trends and dealing with the fluctuating market, especially right now with so much uncertainty because of the pandemic and other issues?
So there is a lot of uncertainty, but there is actually a lot of certainty as well. And so the answer is actually you shouldn't be paying attention day by day unless you're a trader or you have a short-term need that you're trying to get accomplished. You have a deadline. So investing should be for the long term. Trading is for the short term. So if you know what the long-term prognosis is, which we think is extremely robust, so you want to invest. And then if there are these fluctuations, these dips, maybe that's when you add a little bit more. And if there's a run-up that's ahead of whatever you or your planner's expectation is, then you do this fancy thing we call rebalance.
We're joined by Dewey Steffen. He is the CEO and Chief Investment Officer at Great Lakes Wealth, a financial planning company, joining us on the Megacast. And so you're a financial planner. You have a lot of financial planners that are with you at Great Lakes Wealth. When someone is starting that process of, as you said, wealth management and financial planning, what should they be considering as they're choosing one financial planner versus the next, whether it be at Great Lakes Wealth or another expert or another individual?
Oh, great question. So the first thing you should do is, go get some information, and you can go to our website, greatlakeswealth.us, and there's information on our firm, which is certainly important. And then if you're going to look at other firms, their website hopefully has that general information also. But at the bottom of our website homepage are calculators, there are presentations, there's just a lot of generic information to help. So if you're thinking about, your first child's college education, how to fund that, we have a calculator where you can just put in different numbers and kind of see what it'll take to, get that goal achieved. If it's your retirement and you have, 5 to 10 years left, and you really want to know if you're on pace to make that happen, then you can use our calculators to kind of, again, put in some numbers, but also, again, talk to any friends, family members, people that you know and trust that have had success and that have had a financial plan done or do investing, and they can kind of be a good source of information as well.
We're joined by Dewey Steffen, CEO and Chief Investment Officer of Great Lakes Wealth, a financial planning company. As he said, you can find more information on their website at greatlakeswealth.us, greatlakeswealth.us. And so we're heading toward the end of the 2021 year. As we're approaching 2022, give us a little bit of those secrets that you're uncovering right now about investment strategies for next year. Not all of them, of course. You got to keep some with you and get people into the office over there at Great Lakes Wealth. But just a few things that you're looking at right now, some tips and tricks as people are preparing for 2022.
Tyler, I'm going to give you all of the tips. I'm just not going to tell you the tricks, okay? And so with that, there's some things that we know, and you even know, and everyone out there actually knows. It's just that you may not be paying attention or understanding fully. Number one is there's inflation that's happened. Inflation has, sparked a movement in America to where now, again, inflation is feeding on itself. So if you don't understand how inflation impacts your current dollar and your future dollar, that's where you need to start. So know that inflation is running rampant, and it will continue to do so. So make sure that your investment strategy or your plan, has an understanding of the impact of inflation, and you better be proactive about dealing with that. Number two, the Federal Reserve has kept interest rates low, since the pandemic happened a year and a half ago, and they have made it very clear that they're going to start to raise interest rates. And so when interest rates rise, that upsets the apple cart. That changes the deck, as we say. So you better understand that when you invest, when interest rates are going down, that's one approach, but you need a whole different approach when interest rates are on the rise. So you're going to have inflation for sure to deal with, and rising interest rates for sure to deal with in 2022.
We're joined by Dewey Steffen, CEO and Chief Investment Officer at Great Lakes Wealth, a financial planning company. Learn more about them at greatlakeswealth.us. Again, as greatlakeswealth.us. So you've separated yourself from other financial management services that you have expertise in cannabis investments. Tell us a little bit about that separation, why that happened, and what you're doing on both of those fronts.
Well, sure. So take a step back. So at our firm, Great Lakes Wealth, our mission is to provide Wall Street solutions with Main Street values to our clients, but also the entire community that we serve. So with that, we have traditional investments, your stocks, your bonds, your cash. You have conservative, moderate, and aggressive, depending on risk profile. Again, all of this, talk to a financial professional to understand where you may fit. But besides your traditional investing, there are investments called alternatives. And some of those could include cannabis. They could include digital assets, which might be cryptocurrencies. That could be leveraged real estate plays. And this whole world out there called private equity. And so one of those investments that we do offer is a cannabis portfolio for sure. And so I am happy to talk about it in detail if you'd like.
You did mention cryptocurrencies as well. That's something that's become more of a hot button topic here in recent months, and especially in the last year or so on the financial front. So give us a little bit of the digital assets or the cryptocurrency 101. If people are considering investing in some cryptocurrency or looking into purchasing some cryptocurrency, what should they be considering as they go into that market versus other markets that are more traditional?
Sure. Well, that one I would say definitely don't go it alone. Find a financial professional that can help you. It is a brand new asset class, if you will. Bitcoin, which is the granddaddy of them all, if you will, and what most say is the safest cryptocurrency. It's been around since 2009. So, it's just 12 years old, if you will. And every coin after that is, again, newer. So this is a brand new investments category, if you will. And so you need to tread lightly and fully understand. It's a great segue to, we actually have a podcast that we run, Tyler, and I've got my mug here, but our podcast is called What Do We Do? And we actually have a podcast episode where we talk about cryptocurrency 101 and what you should do to understand it, and then if you want to try to invest in it, what the best approaches may be.
We're joined by Dewey Steffen. He is the CEO and Chief Investment Officer at Great Lakes Wealth. Learn more information and find out how you can get in contact with them at greatlakeswealth.us. That is greatlakeswealth.us. And so, Dewey, inflation, especially during the holiday season, has played a role in a number of different markets. We're seeing some prices on certain products skyrocketing and making some things a little bit more difficult for people and for industries as well. How does that play into your discussions with your clients and their financial planning going forward during this current crisis with COVID-19 and beyond that, knowing that inflation is going to be something that will always be affecting the markets, but it seems to be having a more significant effect as of late?
Yeah, well, again, another great question. And an upcoming episode of our podcast right before Thanksgiving, we dive into that and we give a list of things to do to combat inflation the best you can. One side of it is with your investments and what you can do to invest properly to participate or hedge against that inflation. The other one is in your spending habits and what can you do as a consumer to protect yourself and not be subject to this rampant inflation that you just discussed. A lot of that is, again, be specific in what you're shopping for and shop around, right? Maybe price compare and understand it, and don't just go, buy whimsically. You may be definitely overpaying, and it'll affect your pocketbook for sure.
We're joined by Dewey Steffen, CEO and Chief Investment Officer at Great Lakes Wealth, a financial planning company. Learn more about them on their website, greatlakeswealth.us. And so it seems that we're slowly, month by month, getting closer to the end of the pandemic. Still a ways away, but it seems like it's more optimistic month by month. What has been learned from the financial planning industry, from businesses like yours and others in our local area and across the U.S. and the world? What sort of changes have been made in your approach to financial planning with your clients as a result of the past 20 months and ongoing in this pandemic?
Well, from an operational perspective, a lot of it comes down to communication and how you communicate. In the last year and a half, you didn't really see people in person. And so when you're doing financial planning, and this would go, if you're, being served by a physician and with medical needs, if you can go in person and sit down and roll up your sleeves and kind of, get in there, that's what you're used to doing pre-pandemic. But now a lot of it, whether it's Zoom meetings or technical calls, digital calls via emails, that's a whole new approach. So it actually makes you more efficient because you can have just a more succinct conversation that way. So that is number one from an operational perspective. And number two, the pandemic has changed the landscape, maybe forever, in terms of, again, what will be productive and not so productive. Interest rates are going to stay low for a long period of time. Efficiencies and scalability and how companies are going to sell their products. A company owner has to figure that out, but an investor also has to understand where the future is going, not where it was.
We're joined by Dewey Steffen, CEO and Chief Investment Officer with Great Lakes Wealth. And Dewey, just a couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. At this moment in time, as we're approaching the end of the year, any words of advice that people should be taking into heart as they're continuing their financial planning in 2021 and looking toward the future right now?
Sure. Number one, start your plan. Get a plan. Get started now. We always say if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So find a professional, find someone and get started. There are tools all over the internet. Certainly we talked about at our website. But additionally, I'll leave your audience with this, that right now, cash is trash. Money in the bank doesn't pay any interest. Inflation is over 4% on CPI, which is a broad basket of inflation. Many, many goods and services are much higher than 4%. So if money in the bank is earning you nothing, and inflation is increasing the cost of goods by at least 4%, so you are losing money by having it in the bank, find investments that will keep up with inflation and certainly have, 3 to 6 months of money set aside for an emergency. So be responsible with your investing. But again, cash sometimes is king, but not right now. Cash is trash.
Well, Dewey, we appreciate your advice and your insight as people are planning for the future, beginning their plans, or considering reaching out to a financial planner as they plan for their financial future and set their goals and work to achieve them. Before I let you go, where can people get access to your podcast so they can hear what you've done in the past and your podcasts coming up?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So you can go to YouTube, Spotify, Apple iTunes. You can check it out, download, subscribe. We're in season 2. We recently had on Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, and we also had on local celebrity Mike Valenti from 97.1 The Ticket. And actually this morning, we dropped a brand new episode with the Children's Miracle Network director from Beaumont Health Foundation. Her name is Charlotte Alex. And so we have an amazing lineup for the rest of the winter. Please go check out our past episodes to learn about cryptocurrency and financial planning and everything else. And I appreciate your time having me on today, Tyler.
Appreciate it as well. Dewey Steffen, CEO and Chief Investment Officer at Great Lakes Wealth, a financial planning company. If you want to get in contact with him and learn more about everything that they're doing over there at Great Lakes Wealth, including their podcast, go to their website, greatlakeswealth.us. We're going to take one final break, and on the other side, I'll be joined by Mindy Eisenberg. She is the founder of Yoga Moves MS in Franklin, and she'll join us next to talk about Yoga Moves MS on this edition of the Megacast.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
How does marijuana affect the teen brain?
Our brains are still developing into our 20s.
With regular use, marijuana can affect teen brain development.
It can affect our brain's circuitry and blood flow and impair thinking, learning, and memory function.
Which could hold us back from reaching our potential.
Don't let marijuana mess with your brain.
Get the facts at michigan.gov/drug-free.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council,
we work together to protect water resources for everyone.
Most of the pollution entering our rivers is carried by rainwater that runs off roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
A rain garden helps catch stormwater runoff.
Rain gardens and their plants help dirty runoff soak into the ground.
You can do your part to help keep our water clean.
Learn about rain gardens and native plants.
So consider a rain garden in your home landscaping.
Catch the runoff with a rain garden.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Kieft in our studios here in West Bloomfield Township alongside studio producer and board operator Calvin Brown with us on the Megacast. We're live 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Monday through Friday, and you can learn more information about our show and find all of our full episodes and interviews on demand by going to our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast and scrolling down the page, click on Watch Full Episodes or Watch Full Interviews. Those are usually posted on our website by sometime in mid-afternoon. Joining us now is Mindy Eisenberg. She is the founder of Yoga Moves MS, located in Franklin. They have an adaptive online yoga class for patients with MS, Parkinson's, and other disabilities coming up very soon, and she joins us to talk about that and more right now. Mindy, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Appreciate having you on. So tell us a little bit about Yoga Moves MS out of Franklin, a little bit about your business, what you do, and what you offer to people throughout our communities.
So Yoga Moves MS is a nonprofit that provides adaptive yoga for people with MS and Parkinson's, and of course anybody's welcome with any neuromuscular condition. Pre-COVID, we had 7 classes in different locations throughout southeastern Michigan. Since COVID, everything is online, and we're hoping to bring it back again next year. So right now we have daily virtual adaptive yoga classes that anybody can join. They're donation-only classes, and they range from chair yoga to a mixed class where there'll be some chair yoga and some on the mat and some standing. Adaptive yoga, we use props like straps and blocks and blankets and chairs and walls to help us find our optimal posture. So it's not really about the postures, it's about how we feel in the postures, and yoga is really about feeling better.
We're joined by Mindy Eisenberg. She's the founder of Yoga Moves MS in Franklin. So I want to talk a little bit about the ways that you adjust the practice of yoga for patients with neuromuscular conditions such as MS or Parkinson's or other diseases, because my dad has MS, and so I'm fairly familiar with some of the ways that that can affect someone on a daily basis, and particularly in movement situations or exercise scenarios like with yoga. Yoga tends to be much lower impact. It can be very high intensity in some cases, but it's not something that's going to really wipe you out very quickly. That being said, for a lot of patients with MS, mobility and balance are already a pretty big issue. You mentioned some of the props and using the walls and such as well, but what kind of benefits can somebody with a neuromuscular condition that may have some trouble with traditional yoga, what benefits can they take from this adaptive style that you practice over at Yoga Moves MS?
I can tell that you already know and understand a lot about MS, of course, living with a family member with it. And so the same benefits that anybody gets from yoga, someone with a neuromuscular condition can get. What you'd mentioned that it doesn't move as fast, and which is true. So in an adaptive yoga room, we take the time to go slower. You also know that heat impacts people. So we keep the temperature, we're always asking what's the best temperature, but it's usually around 70, 72, something like that. And so we take breaks in between poses. There's a lot of breaks. There's also more conversation that goes on in the room. There's a lot of sharing. Even online, I've been surprised to see how we've been able to come together as a community. People discuss some of the concerns that they might have or resources that they might have to share with others who have a similar condition. So the class has become very much a support group as well as a yoga class. So I would say that's one of the benefits right there. Then, of course, the benefits of strengthening and stretching and coordination and cognition. I mean, I could keep going on and on with it. I mean, just focusing on the breath. There's a lot of people who are scared of yoga. And I've noticed that because my flyer has been in neurologist's office for years and years. I mean, I have hundreds of students who've come to Yoga Moves MS, and now they're coming from different countries. Last night, Australia was on. But what I've noticed is that people tell me over and over again how they were holding on to our flyer about classes because they were afraid to try it. And it wasn't until perhaps, you know, they were really uncomfortable with their body. Something really pushed them into it. Their doctor, someone said, you gotta come with me, until they finally got the courage to do it. And we're super friendly, super duper friendly. People are so happy in the class when someone else joins, and very encouraging. If someone sees another classmate doing a pose or a posture that they weren't able to do before, or maybe a variation of it, there's going to be a lot of cheerleading going on in the room. A lot of smiles, a lot of laughing, and really having fun. Now with MS, we're hearing stories about that it's really good to also do some aerobic or cardiac before doing something like a more slower, more contemplative, mindful practice. And so I've talked to some different physical therapists about matching some faster moving together with some slower, maybe flowing yoga.
We're joined by Mindy Eisenberg. She is the founder of Yoga Moves MS in Franklin, joining us on the Megacast. As you mentioned, you are a nonprofit. You run a lot of events, and you have been throughout the pandemic running virtual events to continue to provide these services to people with neuromuscular conditions like MS or Parkinson's or other diseases. You have an event coming up this Saturday, November 6th, from noon to 4 for individuals with MS and their care partners. Tell us a little bit about that event and how people can participate.
Yes, it's a pretty exciting event. This is our third year. The first year we were in Southfield, Michigan, and the room could hold about 260 people. And we basically, there's no charge for the event. It's donation only. But you could say we sold out. There was standing room only. We bring in national and local experts, and they talk about different topics that have to do with holistic, the whole person, and wellness. And I had no idea how much interest there was, and also that there really wasn't much out there about it, specifically tailored to people with MS. Although some of my students who have Parkinson's came on as well and enjoyed several of the presentations. So we have this array of people who are local. that are leading experts from our comprehensive MS centers. So Dr. Randy Abu-Rashad and Dr. Belkin and his new partner, Rosemary Welch, they're going to be on. In addition to some national experts, when I was just at the MS Consortium annual meeting, and people were walking around our exhibit booth and they saw our flyer and they're like, "You got these guys speaking?" We really do. And I'm real proud of it. And you cannot beat this lineup of speakers. They know and breathe MS, and they really want to help people. I'm amazed by even the responses when I'm corresponding with them planning this event. So we sat down together with Dr. Singer, Barry Singer, who's our keynote, and we discussed different topics. And we decided this year to focus on, because so many experience fatigue with MS, and certainly the care partners as well. So fatigue is going to be one of our big topics. So is pain, coping with pain. And then resilience and thriving with MS. And a different kind of topic, we're bringing in a rehab psychologist from the University of Michigan Medical Center, Evan Smith, Dr. Evan Smith. And he's going to be talking about value-based thriving with MS. And so this word keeps coming up among our speakers: thriving, resilience. And we have a special video that we put together of 3 Yoga Moves MS students that have been with us. And one of them, Adam, he joined during COVID. So he had never done a class in person. And so these 3 are super inspiring and agreed to put together this video. I find that our community attracts so many people that you just want to be around with, because it feels so good to be around them. They may have a condition, but they are finding a way to find meaning and purpose in their life and enjoy in their life. So we have 3 examples that'll be in this beautiful, almost tearjerker video that'll be a gift to our viewers.
We're joined by Mindy Eisenberg. She's the founder of Yoga Moves MS in Franklin. Learn more information about their 2021 Virtual Holistic Health and Wellness Forum happening this Saturday, November 6th from noon to 4 p.m. by going to their website at yogamovesms.org, where you can register for this event as well. It is a free event, but they are encouraging a $25 donation as well. And so, Mindy, a few more minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. And I just want to ask, what inspired you to begin Yoga Moves MS and to operate this? What ultimately led you to decide that this was something that you wanted to do to help people in our community that may have these neuromuscular conditions and need some sort of a safe and effective exercise outlet?
Well, like you, I had a parent with MS. My mother had primary progressive MS. You're a lot younger, but my mom back in the late 60s, early 70s was diagnosed. And there was nothing at the time to slow down the disease. And so she was basically given Valium, which just made her more tired, more fatigued, and steroids. And her progression was like this, downhill. By the time she had it, like 20 years or so, her body was in a contracted, almost fetal position. And I really didn't have a plan at the time, but I was a hospital administrator at U of M, and I started to take yoga and loved it. And after I took the teacher training, I was invited to a support group, actually at the Mind, where 2 of our presenters are from. And ever since then, it's just bubbled into different classes that were in Southeastern Michigan, and now we have this virtual online presence.
We're joined by Mindy Eisenberg. She is the founder of Yoga Moves MS in Franklin, joining us on the Megacast. Learn more information about Yoga Moves MS, including their 2021 Virtual Holistic Health and Wellness Forum for MS, by going to their website at yogamovesms.org. That's also where you can register for this weekend's event. And again, that is on Saturday, November 6th from noon until 4 p.m. yogamovesms.org for more information. And lastly, Mindy, you're also an author of Adaptive Moves Yoga Moves. Anybody can do. You're an author of a book about that. Tell us about the book and where people can find that.
Sure. So adaptive yoga moves anybody. It was created in memory of my mom. It was a 5-year birthing process to this book. And it's a guide for different adaptive yoga poses, giving different variations, lots of pictures, user-friendly, tells you the benefits of each pose and any possible contraindications. And it's got some different breathing techniques in there and some hand mudras. We also have adaptive yoga cards, which students also ask for. And you can pull out the card and look at a posture and then get some variations on the back. So there's always an alternative, and they're just easy to use, and you might just pick out 3 to 5 poses that you do in a day. And this way you can make the practice your own at home. So those are on my website. They're also sold on Amazon. And I just want to mention for the event on Saturday, if they can't make it or they can't make the whole thing, they can kind of weave in and out based on their schedule. If they register, we will be sending out the link to watch the recordings after.
We're joined by Mindy Eisenberg, founder of Yoga Moves MS in Franklin. Find more information on their upcoming event this weekend by going to their website at yogamovesms.org. And Mindy, just another minute or so before we'll say goodbye today. You have some other online resources as well for people that may be interested in this adaptive yoga or be interested in helping either themselves who may have a neuromuscular condition such as these or someone else in their family. Where can people find those other online resources?
Yes. So the book does have videos related to it, and those videos can be used with the cards or the book. I recommend they're a companion. And we have also, you can go to YouTube and see some of our prior presentations and classes. And they really, if you have any hesitation, just try one of our virtual classes and see. We have chair classes, breathing classes, meditation classes, stretching classes. There's bound to be something for you.
Well, Mindy, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us, previewing this weekend's event and telling us all about Yoga Moves MS.
Thank you so much for having me, and I welcome all to our community, Yoga Moves MS.
Yeah, yogamovesms.org for more information. Big thank you to Mindy Eisenberg, the founder of Yoga Moves MS, located in Franklin. That's going to do it for today's edition of the show. Big thank you to all of our guests, including Mindy, all the guests today as well, including Christine Johnson from Grace Centers of Hope, U.S. Representative Brenda Lawrence, Nori Klar from Toyology Toys with locations in Bloomfield Hills, West Bloomfield, and Royal Oak, and of course Dewey Steffen, the CEO and Chief Investment Officer at Great Lakes Wealth, a financial planning company. You can find all of our interviews and our full episode from today and other shows on demand on our website on civiccentertv.com by clicking on our Megacast link. And there you can also find more information about all of our partnering television, radio, and web outlets here in Oakland County and all throughout the state of Michigan. Again, civiccentertv.com and click on our Megacast link. Right next door to that on our website at civiccentertv.com is our coronavirus link, another very important site for you to go to each and every day if you want to access information about COVID-19 from trusted, reliable, factual information outlets on the front lines of this pandemic, at the federal level from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, at the state level from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and from the Oakland County Health Division as well. You can learn more information about the spread of COVID-19, about the variants of COVID-19, about precautionary measures that can be taken, the efficacy of those precautions, such as mask wearing, such as social distancing, and other measures, and learn more about the COVID-19 vaccines, especially those for ages 5 to 11 years old that are soon to be available in our communities from the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine for children. That's, of course, more information will be on all 3 of those sites that we have linked at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, as well as our top stories each and every day that we post before the show. Big thank you to our entire crew. Calvin Brown, our studio producer and board operator, with me in our Green Media Center studio in West Bloomfield each and every day. Larry Nyland, our booking producer, and also out at Master Control with us today this week for getting everyone ready for the show. And Brendan, our Zoom producer over there at the Troy office. On Civic Center TV, up next is The Splash on My. It is going to be Steve Lato live, and we'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m.